okay, my mic isn't even on. Okay. I didn't think I was gonna go live today, but I kind of had a feeling I was. But I guess now we're here. So we got a tornado warning, just to the north of Jackson, Mississippi, including the northern half of Jackson, Mississippi, for a embedded supercell here along the dry line, or not dry line, sorry, QLCS here, embedded supercell. This could definitely produce a tornado right now. At first, like, I didn't think this was going to produce a tornado. I didn't know what they were doing as far as this tornado warning. However, now that we are seeing this hook back around, I could definitely see a tornado potentially developing right along the hook there. And we have rotation developing along the hook there, along the QLCS. Give it a little bit of time, and it may be able to produce a tornado. I'm going to see if I can get this stream out there real quick. But I probably going to leave radar up for the time being, so you guys can watch it so I can watch it. I'll make sure to provide updates as far as the radar. But yeah, this could potentially be a dangerous situation. What I'll do is I will keep... I'll keep velocity on this side, and I will keep correlation coefficient on this side, so you can see if it touches down, and then I'll also have reflectivity up on my phone. But yeah, yeah, this is definitely looking like a quite vigorous area of rotation here, and it's continuing to increase with strength as well. So I hope my microphone sounds good. I'm gonna check it real quick. Okay, yeah, my microphone sounds fine. Let me pull up reflectivity on my phone here, just so I can monitor that. Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, there's a very decent hook on reflectivity. And rotation continuing to develop is very tight so far. And outbound pixels also looking very decent, or inbound pixels actually, upwards of 73 miles per hour, versus outbound pixels of potentially 8 miles per hour. But you gotta keep in mind that this entire line's moving towards the radar site. But if we turn on storm relative velocity, yeah, you can definitely see the rotation there. With 80 miles per hour inbound there. So, yeah, definitely big potential for tornado on this storm. I'll definitely be watching this. Again, if you're just tuning in, there's a tornado warning just to the north of Jackson, Mississippi, for the northern half of Jackson, Mississippi, as well as Richland, Mississippi, and Madison, Mississippi. Again, a tornado could drop at any time with this storm, so definitely make sure you're staying weather alert if you live in the warning box. Yes, so yeah, let me try and get the live stream out there. I'll leave this open. I'll definitely be watching correlation coefficient like a hawk. I really hope that this thing right here does not increase and get bigger and deepen, because that would mean that a tornado would be on the ground and it would move through densely populated areas. That's what we do not want tonight. That is the one thing I do not want to deal with tonight. I do not want to watch a tornado get hit, or a town get hit by a tornado tonight. Okay, Yeah, okay, let me get the link. Okay, yeah, yeah, I'm gonna wait for the, why did my Alexa just power off? I'm gonna wait for the newest correlation coefficient, scan here in a moment, hopefully. I really do not want to see that thing deepen. But it does look like there may be a very, very tiny correlation coefficient drop there. And if that's the case, that's not good because this is very populated areas. And it would likely be a rain wrap tornado on top of it being nighttime as well. Yeah, it wouldn't be good whatsoever, especially with what I'm seeing on reflectivity, which you guys cannot. I'll put on reflectivity real quick. But if here's the inflow. Here is the RFD, and if we're watching for a tornado, it would likely be somewhere around this region. Sorry, I'm lending my friend's mouse, or my friend is letting me he's lending me his mouse because something bad happened to my previous mouse, and I just don't have it anymore. But yes, the correlation coefficient drop that I thought I saw is not there anymore, which is a good thing. There may have not been a tornado, but I'm gonna continue to watch that because if we see that tighten up here, that may be able to strengthen the inflow as it occludes and potentially increase the potential of tornadic development across this region. But I'm going to switch it back to velocity. Ooh, velocity is looking not very good. You can still see that there is outbound pixels and inbound pixels. You can tell that there is rotation there. But there's still no correlation coefficient drop to go with it. So there's probably not a tornado on the ground as of right now, as I was mentioning. So yeah, I'm gonna continue to watch this. Really do not want a correlation coefficient to drop. I really do not want a correlation coefficient drop right now because, yeah, this is extremely populated areas, and as I've already said, I do not want to watch a town get hit by a tornado tonight. Continuing to get the word out there real quick, and then I'll be back with you guys in a moment. I'm still watching radar though. There may be a small correlation coefficient drop here. It's getting very deep. It's very small, but it's very deep. I really hope that's not correlation coefficient drop. And velocity is also getting better as far as rotation. Again, I do not want to continue to see this deepen. If we see that deepen in the next radar scan, even between radar scans, we could still see a tornado on the ground. But as of right now, I'm going to treat this as if there's a tornado on the ground because we do have a little bit of a correlation coefficient drop there. So there definitely may be a tornado on the ground. Again, in potentially populated areas of northern Jackson, Mississippi. If you live in Madison or Ridgeland, or in the northern half of Jackson, Mississippi, if you live in the warning box, the polygon, you want to treat that seriously. Make sure you're getting to shelter, because there could potentially be a tornado on the ground, and it may potentially do damage, because this is a heavily populated areas. If this tornado touches down. Reachhammer just posted a thing on Twitter indicating that trees are currently blocking roads, and a tornado may have been on the ground for at least a little while. Again, there may potentially be a tornado on the ground, and if that's the case as of right now, this may be moving through densely populated areas of northern Jackson, Mississippi. Again, if you live in Madison or Richland or potentially Canton, Mississippi, you need to get to shelter immediately. This is a dangerous situation. Okay, I'm trying to finish up getting the word out. I'm still watching radar to see if that correlation coefficient drop continues to deepen, which I do not want. Again, there may potentially be a tornado on the ground. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to ask. Completely open to questions. In fact, I completely encourage them, and I highly encourage them, especially in a situation like this. Please feel free to ask questions, and let me know how my microphone sounds, because I know last time it was extremely quiet. However, I think I may have fixed that, so please let me know how my microphone sounds. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the music I have in the background. Okay, mic sounds good, thank you. But again, there may potentially, okay, where'd my reflectivity go? There may potentially be a tornado on the ground as of right now, moving through densely populated areas. Again, very small correlation coefficient drop, but there very well could be a tornado potentially on the ground. Reed Timmer has already indicated that there may be a little bit of tornadic debris blocking some roads in this region, so there could have been a tornado on the ground at some time, or at least at some point, and there still may be one on the ground. We're gonna have to wait for the next correlation coefficient scan here, but we could definitely see a tornado come out of this, and there may potentially be a tornado. Still a little bit of a correlation coefficient drop. I think it is spreading out and it is weakening, but there very well could have been a tornado on the ground at some point. There still may be debris in the atmosphere, and there still may be one on the ground. So still treat this tornado warning seriously if you live in the northern portion of Jackson, Mississippi, especially Madison, Mississippi, Ridgeland, or Canton, Mississippi. Treat the polygon with respect. If you live in the polygon, make sure you're getting to shelter immediately. This is a dangerous situation. Again, a tornado could drop at any time, and there may have been one on the ground at least at some point. So again, definitely make sure you're taking this warning seriously. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. I encourage them. Okay. Again, potentially tornado on the ground at this time. I'm gonna wait for the new correlation coefficient scan, but there very well could potentially be a tornado on the ground at this time, and this may potentially be not good because this is very densely populated areas. Again, I'm telling you to treat this warning with respect, because there definitely could have been a tornado on the ground at some point, as we saw with those small correlation coefficient drops. Again, if you live in the northern half of Jackson, Mississippi, if you live in the tornado warning box, definitely make sure you're getting to shelter. Again, potentially a tornado continues on the ground through densely populated areas. It may have been a brief one, and it may lift between radar scans, but still, it still may be on the ground. We're gonna have to wait for the next correlation coefficient scan to see, but it could definitely be on the ground as of right now, and may continue to stay on the ground. I don't want to click on any of these streamers or any of these chasers streams, because I don't know if they have copyright material. I doubt they will, because they're probably also scared of the same thing. But I am going to personally check one of their streams to see what they are seeing as regards to this tornado warning currently. I will continue to check radar. I will make sure to be able to put my chat somewhere I can read it if you guys have any sort of concerns or any sort of questions. It does look like the tornado has probably lifted for now, but we could still definitely see it touch back down. Again, there's still rotation ongoing, and again, we could definitely see a tornado touch back down, and these are still densely populated areas, so still treat this warning with respect if you live in any of the affected areas. Madison and Mississippi, and Canton, Mississippi, get to shelter immediately. This is a dangerous situation. There may potentially a tornado could definitely potentially come out of the storm, as we have already seen, and rotation is going to continue. We are continuing to see rotation with this storm. On reflectivity, it looks extremely organized. Like, this is an extremely organized QLCS type of situation. And you can see just the robustity and like just how clear this hook echo is, especially multiple radar scans back. It's not as clear now, but it's still extremely clear. Like, this is a very clear indicator of the potential of tornadoes with a QBLCS like this in a linear fashion. And anywhere along this line, we are watching for the potential of tornadoes, as well as the potential of some widespread damaging wind gusts and the potential for hail. However, as of right now, the current risk remaining is the potential of a tornado. We may have already seen a tornado already touch down across this region, and Retimer did mention that there may have been some trees that have been downed by this thing already, so we could have definitely seen a tornado on the ground with this storm. If you live in the affected areas, Madison and Canton, Mississippi, please get to shelter immediately. Treat this warning box with respect. Tornado could drop down at any time with this storm. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'm not opposed to questions. Okay, again, anyone who's currently tuned in right now, if you guys have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to ask. I'm not opposed to questions whatsoever. I highly encourage them, and they keep me going during the stream. Again, we could definitely see a tornado at any time with this storm. If you live in any of the affected areas, if you live in Canton or Madison, Mississippi, please take this warning box seriously and get to shelter immediately. We may have already seen a tornado with this storm, but that doesn't mean it can't happen again. So please get to shelter immediately if you live in the affected area. This is potentially a dangerous situation that you need to take seriously. Again, tornado warning continues for Madison and Canton, Mississippi. I doubt that we're going to see all that much of a risk for Canton, or for Madison, Mississippi. Sorry, we're probably not going to see that much of a risk for Madison, Mississippi, as of now. However, we are going to continue to see the potential and the risk for a tornado for Canton, Mississippi, if this thing decides to get a nice RFD surge going, then that could push it off to the northeast and put Canton, Mississippi at risk, and that's definitely a pretty big hazard as of right now. So if you live in Canton, Mississippi, or in this warning box just to the north of Jackson, Mississippi, please get to shelter immediately. If you're living, or if you're driving along Interstate 55 out of Jackson to the north, out of Jackson, Mississippi, north of Jackson, Mississippi, please drive with caution and be aware of this tornado warning that is currently ongoing. Again, a tornado could potentially touch down at any time. Again, Canton, Mississippi, you are in the immediate risk of this tornado warning. Treat this warning box with respect and get to shelter immediately. Again, a tornado could potentially touch down at any time with this system. Again, any questions whatsoever, please feel free to ask. I'm not opposed to questions. Again, Canton, Mississippi is potentially in the immediate danger of this tornado warning. Again, if we get a nice RFD surge, we could definitely see this thing turn off to the north and potentially impact. Again, definitely make sure you're treating this warning with respect and getting to shelter immediately if you live in Canton, Mississippi, or anywhere in this warning box. Again, this tornado warning is to the north of Canton, or just to the north of Jackson, Mississippi, and does include parts of Interstate 55, just to the north of Jackson, Mississippi. If you are driving in that region, please drive with caution. The tornado is not likely going to impact Interstate 55, but definitely make sure you're proceeding with caution, as there may potentially be at least damaging wind gust debris on the road, and as well as potentially hail and, again, strong damaging wind gusts and heavy rainfall. So definitely make sure you're continuing with caution. Doubt you're going to see that much of a tornado risk along Interstate 55 as of now. However, Canton, Mississippi, you're still at risk of a tornado. It does look like it is going to continue to the northeast. I don't think it's going to turn to the north, but still there's that possibility. There's always that small possibility that it may do that. Again, treat this warning box with respect. If you live in Canton, Mississippi, please get to shelter immediately. Does look like the rotation may be trying to die out, and there's no indication of a tornado being on the ground, but we could see it. We could see a tornado touchdown at any time. Again, if you guys have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to ask. And let me know how my mic sounds. I don't know if it's too quiet. I know that it was on the last live stream, and I think I fixed it, but please let me know. Okay, I'm just going to do this just to confirm. I'm going to set it back to what it was originally, and I'm going to check it. Yo, okay, how loud is this? It didn't change whatsoever. I hope it's not terrible on your end. Again, tornado warning is continuing. Oh, for a very big distance. And this seems like a wild distance for this tornado warning. But if you live in Carthage, Mississippi, please get to shelter immediately. It's still, how far out is it? I feel like the distance was really unneeded, but it's around 30 miles out. So the rotation is still 30 miles out. It is still ongoing. There's no indication of a tornado currently on the ground as of right now, but we may have seen one on the ground earlier. Again, if you live in any of the affected areas, if you live in this warning box, please take it with respect. If you live in Carthage, Mississippi, please get to shelter immediately. Again, we could definitely see a tornado touchdown at any time with this storm. Please treat this warning box with respect and get to shelter. Again, I'm honestly not really too sure why they extended this tornado warning to be so big. Because this is a massive tornado warning. This is around, this is around a total of, 57 miles, and the newest warning box was around 43 miles long. Usually they're never that big. Usually I see them around 15 to 20 miles. I usually never see them get up to 50 miles big. But do treat this warning box with respect. If you live in Carthage, Mississippi, please get to shelter immediately. There's still a time for this to change. However, again, definitely make sure you're getting to shelter if you live in this warning box. And definitely treat this warning box with respect. And always treat every tornado warning as if there's a tornado on the ground, regardless of if it's if there's an indicator of if it's on the ground or not. Always treat a tornado warning as if there's a tornado on the ground, because there very well could be one at any time, especially with what we may have seen earlier on radar. If you're seeing this, this is not a tornadic debris. Again, a tornado could definitely drop at any time with this storm. So definitely treat this warning box with respect. If you live in any of the affected areas, please get to shelter immediately. This is a potentially dangerous situation. Again, treat every tornado warning as if there's a tornado on the ground. Again, if you live in the warning box, Carthage, Mississippi, please get to shelter immediately. Respect to the warning box. Pulling up reflectivity on my phone again. Yeah, there's still a nice hook going. Again, if you live in the affected area, please get to shelter immediately. This is potentially a dangerous situation. A tornado could definitely drop at any time with this storm, and we still see rotation going as well. Where was I? Hold on. Who is this? Is that Brandon Kopic? Yeah, I'm trying to check one of their live streams to see if they may have seen anything as far as a tornado potentially being on the ground. Yeah, it's too rainy and it's too dark for them to really see anything. They didn't manage to capture any pictures or anything of the tornado that may have touched down, especially, again, there was that brief correlation coefficient drop that was indicated back towards Canton, or actually back towards Ridgeland, actually. However, there's still no indication of a tornado potentially being on the ground, but there is still rotation ongoing. So again, we can definitely see a tornado come out of this continued with this tornado warning. Again, if you live in Carthage, Mississippi, please get to shelter immediately. This rotation is beginning to die out, though. It is becoming broad, it's becoming more weak, and it's overall not looking the best. But if we get a big push from either inflow, mainly the RFD. If we get a big push from the RFD, that could definitely lead to a mass response and increase inflow quite a bit, and potentially see a increase in the potential of tornadic development with this system. So we could definitely see that happen. Again, anything can change between now and then. So if you live in the Carthage region of Carthage, Mississippi, please get to shelter immediately. If you live in this warning box, please treat it with respect and get to shelter immediately. Again, this is potentially a dangerous situation. A tornado could definitely drop with this storm at any time. Hold on, I need to update the warning boxes. Or not the warning boxes, but the warning counts. Again, there definitely could have been a tornado on the ground at this time. Let's see as far as the long-term potential of storms, especially with this tornado warning that's currently ongoing. I am noticing that there are some showers ahead of this, and actually if I make it so our reflectivity isn't all over the place, and I actually know our reflectivity gate is fine. Yeah, there are some showers out ahead of the this region where the tornado warning currently is. So if this is going to continue up into the north, and even right in front of the line as well, if these continue northward, they're probably not gonna be able to really merge with the line and really aid in tornadic development. Doubt we're gonna see much of that, but I think this may be a little bit more of a destructive influence than a constructive influence, because the colder air from these rain showers are potentially going to potentially lead to the inflow being choked out and overall decreased risk of tornadic development. And as far as the hook echo that we were seeing, there's not really much of a hook echo whatsoever anymore. So it does look like our tornado risk is beginning to go down. And then further down south, we do have another severe thunderstorm warning with no tornado possible signature. However, if this wants to get a good push going and form into an RFD and circle back around, we may have to watch for a potential of a tornado with a severe thunderstorm warning. But again, tornado warning continues for Carthage, Mississippi. If you live in this warning box, please treat it with respect and get to shelter immediately. We could see this strengthen at any time, and this could put a tornado down at any time. We are going to continue to see this. You're probably going to continue to see this rotation decrease, but you never know what's going to happen with it. So again, definitely make sure you're getting to shelter immediately. And any questions are highly considered, or highly encouraged. Any questions are highly encouraged. If you can tell, it's kind of getting late for me. But again, tornado warning continues for Carthage, Mississippi. Rotation is continuing to decrease, it seems, but we never know what's going to happen with this. Treat this warning box with respect and get to shelter immediately if you live in Carthage, Mississippi. Again, a tornado could definitely drop with this at any time. But the way rotation looks right now, it's probably not going to happen. It's definitely going to need some work if it's going to even attempt to try and drop a tornado. It does look like it is falling apart, but it may increase in overall strength and may work its way towards trying to drop a tornado. So again, if you live in the tornado box area, please treat it with respect and get to shelter immediately. Even if it does look like the tornado risk is probably dying down. But I'll continue to watch this. I doubt we'll see a correlation coefficient drop, especially in the next few radar scans unless this thing really increases in overall strength. But we would need a nice RFD surge to get that hook echo going and for rotation to increase. Yeah, this is likely below threshold for a tornado warning now. I do not see any sort of tornado potential with this anymore. This just seems to be very weak and very broad rotation. I doubt we're going to see much of a potential of tornadoes with this tornado warning anymore. I would say it's safe to assume that we're probably not going to see that much of a risk with this tornado warning. And this tornado warning with its 49 minutes left is probably good to expire as of now. But I'll continue to watch it, but I doubt we'll see that much of a risk with tornadoes from this box in particular. From the foreseeable future, this rotation is just way too weak and just way too below threshold. I'm honestly not too sure why they made the warning box so big, especially when it looked like our velocity couplet was decreasing in overall strength and tornadic potential. Probably a couple of radar, like maybe 1 or 2 radar scans before they actually introduced this new warning box. So I'm not really sure why they made it so big, but I'll continue to watch it, but I doubt we'll see too much of a tornado potential with this anymore. And if you have questions, please feel free to ask. We can take a look at some of the other stuff that's currently ongoing. Alright, how we doing over here? I'm kind of just monitoring some things. Yeah, the tornado warning, the rotation is way below threshold for a tornado warning. But I'll continue to watch the southern, the southern severe thunderstorm warning for the potential of a tornado to come out of that. It definitely does look like we may get some rotation, potentially forming. Okay. Yeah, it does look like we may have rotation. Ooh, okay, we did get a tornado report. Yeah, we did get a tornado report from emergency management, near Clinton. Hopefully did not go through Clinton. But again, that brief tornado, there was potentially a brief tornado on the ground at some point that ran that Clinton region, so. Okay, with this entire system moving towards the radar site up to the north there, it does look like we may have a little bit more outbound pixels, but still moving relative to the radar site moving towards it, which is going to lead to overall a decrease in the amount of outbound of velocity. And then inbound, we may have some stronger outbound pixels, especially right here. I'm not going to worry about all of this gobbledygook that's right here, because this is likely just clean air stuff and contamination. But right next to the outbound pixels, the velocity couplet here, right here, we may see some developing rotation, so I'll definitely watch it. If you guys have questions, please ask. But yeah, I'll definitely watch that, see how that continues with time. I'm probably gonna switch this to reflectivity, and then this over to velocity for now. Does look like we may be getting a little bit of a bowing segment here, and if we get a good push out of the east, or out of the west, that could circle back around and try and form a little bit of a hook and lead to more developing rotation. It does look like a lot of the outbound pixels may begin to strengthen here. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna see how that develops and see if that develops into rotation. Because we could definitely see some developing rotation there potentially. That may lead to a tornado risk in the future, so we're gonna watch that. I'm just gonna wait for the new velocity scan. Yeah, they expired the tornado warning. There's no more tornado warning. Hold on, I'm gonna see if I can make sure that my radar omega is working or is actually fitting the screen. So you may see some funky stuff while I try to make sure it actually fits. So I was noticing while I had it on 4 panel earlier, there's still kind of that issue because of the element at the bottom, but it's really hard to see like the majority of the bottom 2 panels, especially correlation coefficient in this case. So I'm gonna stick with 2 panels if I have to. Ooh, yeah, okay. I'm noticing a small pocket of very strong, much more vigorous inbound pixels there. There's not too much outbound pixels that are noticeable, but I'm also noticing this up here with potentially stronger, more vigorous outbound pixels, which may be more in line with more of a push out of the east and potentially a developing Boeing segment. It's kind of hard to see in the deeper reflectivity, but you can kind of see it here in the lighter reflectivity, mainly right here where it goes inward. So yeah, we're gonna watch that, see if that develops into rotation. I'm gonna just wait for the new velocity scan if you want to know why I'm going silent. So it's late for me. It just turned 11 p.m. I was supposed to be doing homework. I thought lapse rates was gonna just cause everything to not happen. Hmm. I think we may have just run out of our tornado risk for tonight. I honestly think that the potential brief tornado that we saw earlier was probably the most we're gonna get out of the tornado risk that we're potentially gonna see today. I may go live later, but as of right now, I'm probably gonna turn off the live stream because uh, I just don't see that much of a risk for tornadoes, especially after the previous one. Lapse rates are just too weak, Cape is too weak, but the shear is immense. But that may also rip things apart. So, um, to be honest, it's doesn't look the best as far as the potential of tornadoes. I'm honestly not too sure why the SPC doubled down on the 10% hatched risk in the newest outlook, especially after a couple hours ago before they issued that. It already looked like the risk was probably not going to come to fruition. And they still doubled down on that 10% tornado risk, even though the storms were already moving through the region of concern and were not living up to what the models were indicating. But they still continued with that risk for some unknown reason to me. So overall, I'm not too sure. But I doubt we're gonna see too much of a risk for tornadoes after tonight. I just think it's way too conditional, and lapse rates is kind of just ruining everything. So, what I'm probably gonna do is I'm probably gonna end the stream here. May go live again later tonight if we get another tornado warning. But I kind of gotta get homework done. So, I want to thank everyone who's tuned in so far, and I hope you guys have an amazing